Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela and we're the Castros.
Oh, it's a Second Mile Wednesday.
Of course.
It's Second Mile Wednesday because we are having our cream puff, our ever popular cream puff for brunch.
Oh.
Of course, kasama ng ating kape.
Sarap kape nila.
Oo, very good ang coffee nila, of course.
Ano yun?
Hala!
Ako pala yun.
Nanonood ng commercial.
Hindi.
Uy, pero madami tayong updates from certain issues from President Donald Trump. Tapos meron pa tayo yung issue ng supposedly insertion sa Congress.
Oo, sa PhilHealth.
Sa PhilHealth, and
Ano
many
pa?
more na...
Pogo is still there.
Pogo is still there. Hindi mawawala yung Pogo yan. Nandiyan pa kaya si Alice Guo?
Siyempre, di ba, ni-ready na nga yung, mamay pag-usapan
Kasi
natin,
yan
yung kanilang
Finding
detention
Guo,
center.
Finding Kibuloy, Found Teves. Yan, dami. Anyway, we're serving you news in a countdown.
All that before your second cup of coffee. This is Brunch. Starting our countdown with some volleyball action, PLDT pulled off a 5-set victory over Creamline in the 2024 PVL Reinforced Conference. They were neck and neck throughout the match as the two teams went to a deciding 5th set. PLDT's Russian import Lena Samoylenko led the team with 34 points on 32 attacks and 2 aces. Meanwhile, Creamline struggled to fight without their stars Alyssa Valdez, Tots Carlos, and Gemma Galanza.
Now let's go over to the Paris Olympics 2024. Wheelchair racer Gerald Pete Mangliwan has booked his ticket to Paris. Let's get to know more about this Kalinga native para-athlete in this report by Mobile Journal Denise Valdesancho.
Another para-athlete has been added to the roster, and this time, the 44-year-old Gerald Pete Mangliwan will be racing his way to the Paralympics. Third time's a charm, as wheelchair racer Gerald Pete Mangliwan has been officially qualified for the Paris Paralympics 2024. This is after his stint last 2016 in Rio and the 2020 Tokyo Games. But before he raced his way in life, Gerald used to play hoops.
2005 kasi, doon ako na nakapasok sa sa national team. Pero wheelchair basketball, 2009 nag-shift po ako ng athletics para athletics.
The adrenaline rush made Gerald realize that it was not an opportunity he'd let go. Although a late bloomer at the age of 29, Gerald was able to immediately cop 2 golds and silvers in his first para-athletics competition in the Malaysia SEA Games. A Kalinga native, being a para-athlete wasn't really in the plan.
Actually, nanggaling po ako sa province kasi. So, from province naman, wala man tayong idea pagdating sa mga ganyan. Kasi ang purpose ko ng pagluwas ko sa Maynila dati is to mag-aaral lang.
At the young age of 2, Gerald was struck with the polio virus, leaving him to use a wheelchair.
Pero nung medyo nagbibingatan doon ka na magkakaroon ng yung conscious sa sarili mo. Hanggang sa mapunta na po ako ng Maynila, and then yun, sabi ko nga, na-engage na ako sa sports, nagkakaroon na ako ng self-confidence, yung makipag-usap ng ganito, parang maganito.
Looking back, the para-athlete's first time was his darkest days.
Yung masasabi ko nung nag-uumpisa pa ako kasi at that time nung nag-start pa ako, kasi hindi pa yan hindi pa yun ganun ka yung support from at that time. Di ba? So marami kang kailangan i-consider that time kung gusto ko pa bang ituloy ito, yung ganun, yung time na yun So,
no matter how many turns in life, Gerald pushed through. Now, the athlete is looking to bring home a medal for his 3rd Paralympics.
Hindi ko nakuha yung gusto ko at that time. So, sana, this time, makakuha din ako ng inaasam lahat ng mga atleta. So, yun. Yun naman yung the main goal ko ngayon.
The country has 6 delegates for the Paralympics representing taekwondo, swimming, archery, and athletics, and is set to commence this August 28. Mobile Journal Denise Valdesancho. We are One News.
Yeah, good luck sa mga Paralympians natin, di ba?
Yes.
Mga
Alam mo ba kung sinong
si
isa pang
Arnel
kasama
Aba.
dyan? No, hindi kasama si Arnel. Si Ernie Gawilan.
Ernie Gawilan. Of course, you know them. Ernie Gawilan, Arnel Aba. Yung mga dati.
Yung mga dati kasi.
Oo.
Kasi si Aba, alam ko hindi pa siya nakasama.
Di ba meron din yung botcha?
Oo. Iba naman yun. Wala yan sa Paris.
Wala sa Paris.
So, swimming,
The Paralympics.
Paralympics.
Oo.
Ernie gawin nun sa swimming yan. Marami na rin yan napanalo sa atin.
Oo.
Alright. Ano na tayo? Let's continue with our countdown. Ranking at the 9th spot is the most comprehensive coverage of the 2025 midterm elections. The top trust news organizations in the country joined forces to launch Bilang Pilipino 2025 Bayan ang Ipanalo. News 5, Signal, One News, 1PH, Radyo 5, Philippine Star, as well as Filipino Star Ngayon, the Freeman Business World, PLDT, and Smart have committed to deliver the relevant information to the voters. The MVP group, together with kapisana ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas, has also launched Think Amuna. It aims to promote media literacy and fight the usage of artificial intelligence or AI to spread fake news.
We just really want to teach the public that when they consume information, na stop, look, and think kung tama ba yung nakikita nila bago sila mag-click, mag-share, bago nila i-like, diba? So we're teaching them to develop critical thinking skills.
Bilang Pilipino has been our media group's comprehensive coverage across broadcast, radio, and print platforms, and the campaign aims to inform voters what the candidates stand for and the roles of elected officials, and as much as possible to ensure that the proper counting of the votes are made in the course of the elections.
Powerhouse.
Exciting, powerhouse collaboration para sa Bilang Pilipino
voters
2025.
And all the way up to the actual election. So, and of course kasi 'di ba si Chairman George has announced also way back that each media entity magkakaroon ng sarili nilang count, diretso yung resulta sa servers natin. So we have our own count.
All right, let's continue with our countdown.
Coming in at the top 8, the Philippine Statistics Authority is now looking into the alleged issuance of fake birth certificates. The agency is investigating the civil registry in Davao del Sur and other offices in over 20 localities. This comes after the NBI discovered around 1,200 alleged fake birth certificates issued to nationals. Aside from the probe, the PSA has also issued guidelines for stricter requirements for late registration.
Let's talk more about those alleged fake birth certificates.
We have with us Attorney Archie Albao, Director of NBI Region 11, with us on the line. Magandang umaga, Director.
Magandang umaga po, Sir Angelo and Ma'am Angela.
Yes,
sa ating mga tagapakinig.
Yes, sir. Medyo alarming to. Dami nito. Paano po natin na-discover yung mentioned na fake birth certificates?
Yes, sir. We discovered this alleged fake birth certificate last week when we arrested a Chinese national na nag-apply ng birth certificate sa DFA. Sir, medyo nag-feedback po. Hindi ko masyadong marinig.
Okay. So ayusin natin yung feedback.
Can we fix the line first before we continue on with our interview?
Okay na.
Okay, so sir, si Angela po ito
again yung question is, paano natin na-discover yung fake birth certificates?
Yes, sir. Last week, we arrested a Chinese national who applied for a Philippine passport in the Department of Foreign Affairs dito sa Davao, no?
Yes.
And the Department of Foreign Affairs called us, no? Na meron ngang nag-apply na allegedly isang Chinese national pretending or purportedly to be a Filipino, no? Pinuntahan natin, ako mismo pumunta. I interview this person. We found out nga hindi siya Filipino nationals but the Chinese national. Kasi isang tanong lang ang tinanong ko sa kanya, saan siya pinanganak and sinong nagpaanak sa kanya.
Okay.
While looking at his birth certificate, ang sabi niya, pinanganak siya sa hospital and a doctor. Nung tiningnan ko yung birth certificate niya, Hilot ang nakalagay. So sabi ko, ito nga, hindi na briefing ng maayos. Dinala na namin sir kinasuhan. And after which, yun na, tiningnan ko yung birth certificate ng maigi, doon inisyo sa Santa Cruz, Davao del Sur. Nakita na natin yung lugar, no? Sinabpina natin itong Santa Cruz, Davao del Sur, kung ilan yung mga ganitong mga birth certificates na ano. So at first, nakahingi tayo ng 2018-2019 na taon. Nagbigay sila ng mga nasa 200. Yun yung first na nakita natin. Then sabi ko, ang dami nga, no? Dami pala na mga allegedly spurious or falsified birth certificates. So dinagdagan natin, no? Through their cooperation, nag-cooperate naman, particularly yung mayor ng Santa Cruz, si Mayor Tata Sala, is very cooperative. Nagbigay ng iba pang mga taon. So dumami. Ngayon, nasa 1,200 na tayo, Sir Angelo and Ma'am Angela, no?
Yes, sir.
Na ating tinitignan isa-isa as of this time.
Director, yung so far yung mga nakita nyo mga birth certificates na pineke, can we safely say karamihan po dito ay issued to Chinese citizens?
That's correct, Sir Angelo. They are issued to Chinese nationals. Now, this is very alarming and we consider this as a threat to our national security dahil unang-una, hindi natin kilala kung sino tong mga to kasi they are using assumed name, no, mga Filipino name. Hindi natin alam kung sino to at saka saan sila ngayon.
Ito pong sinasabi niyo pong 1,200 na fake birth certificates na na-discover nga po dyan sa may Davao del Sur sa Santa Cruz. Ano pong years yung coverage po nito ulit?
Yung nakuha natin ngayon, Ma'am Angela, nasa ano na tayo, from 2016 up to 2021. Okay,
from 2016 to 2021. Pag sinabi po bang fake news, how do we define this? Fake news, fake birth certificate. Yung form po ba nito ay legit galing sa PSA pero peke yung mga nandoon sa loob na datos or information?
Ma'am Angela, ganito po. They are not fake birth certificate. They are authentic birth certificate issued to fake Filipino nationals.
Okay.
Oo. So para ano,
ibig sabihin may racket dito, Sir Angelo, Ma'am Angela. May racket dito at saka may bayaran, may sindikato dito binabayaran para makakuha ng late registration birth certificate. And this is very exactly nung kay Mayor Alice Goo.
Pero Director, yung mga ganito,
ganun yung modus.
Yung Director kasi medyo madami ito, no? So ano to, external group to na may kasabwat po sa loob? May possibility po ba yan?
May kasabwat sa loob, sigurado kami, Sir Angelo, no? Siyempre, ang mga pumirma dito involved.
Ito po, I'm sure ongoing po yung investigation dito, especially doon within the ranks sa PSA, sa Philippine Statistics Authority, na nagre-release nitong mga birth certificate na ito. Nasaan na po itong mga officials na po na ito na in question?
They are being relieved, no, after na malaman ng mayor nila, sa mayor natin dito sa Davao del Sur. Nirelieve na itong mga to. And kami din, kinukompleto namin yung mga ebidensya para kasuhan na itong mga to.
Director, is there a possibility rin po na hindi labang po dito sa Davao del Sur na meron pong nag-i-issue ng mga allegedly, ito nga po, fake birth certificate sa mga iba't ibang foreign nationals? And if possible po, ano po mga lugar po yung mga nakikita nyo po na tinitignan nyo rin po iniimbestigahan?
Ma'am, tama yung sinabi ninyo na hindi lang, this is not only dito nangyari sa Davao del Sur. Posible ito na meron nationwide to, no, na nangyayari. And yun nga, panawagan namin sa iba pang mga officials natin sa gobyerno, patingnan na rin yung pati yung mga ibang mga lugar na may mga local civil registrar. Kasi mayroon kaming nakita din, may nahuli din kami early this year na isang Koreano. Doon naman sa Zamboanga niya kinuha yung kanyang birth certificate.
So, bali po, aside from Zamboanga, ito pong Davao, ano pa pong lugar yung maaari pong nating may posibilidad na ganito nga po nagbibigay ng mga fake birth certificates?
Yung sa amin, ma'am, jurisdiction lang namin is Region 11. Ang
Yes.
tinitingnan lang namin dito yung Region 11. And nananawagan naman na rin kami sa aming mga kasamahan sa NBI, no, na sa ibang lugar na i-check na rin yung kanya-kanyang mga area of jurisdiction kung may mga ganito bang mga insidente.
Yeah. Sa inyo pong region, Region 11, sa inyo pong investigation na ginagawa, natitrace din po ba yung mga Chinese national na umano na kumukuha nga po ng fake birth certificates, kung ano-ano po yung mga ginagawa nila para po makakuha po ng fake birth certificates? What I mean is kung sila rin po ba ay kumbaga nagpo-purchase ng mga lupa sa atin, etc.
Ito yung mga tinitingnan natin ngayon, Ma'am Angela, no? Itong nahuli natin, meron siyang negosyo. And aside from that, nakakuha na rin siya ng driver's license using doon sa assumed name na Pilipino. And PSA na yung tinatawag nating national ID. So ito yung tinitingnan natin kung nakabili pa ng mga properties or ano pang mga bibili nilang iba or nagagamit itong pangalan. Meron na rin silang mga bank account sa iba't ibang mga bangko.
Oo. So what happens now po dun sa mga properties na nabili po nito mga Chinese nationals na may mga hawak po or foreign nationals na may mga hawak po ng mga Filipino birth certificates?
Pwede natin itong i-hold, ma'am, itong mga properties nito, no? Pwede natin i-freeze ito through court order. And itong mga taong medyo nahihirapan kami dito, Ma'am Angela, kasi nga Filipino name yung ginamit. Hindi natin alam kung saan natin to hanapin itong 1,200 sa ngayon. Kasi wala tayong ibang pangbangga dito. So not unless, tulad nung nahuli natin na umamin na this Chinese national. Itong mga 1,200, hanapin natin to kung saan natin to hanapin. But majority, based on our investigation, nasa Luzon ito, na particularly Manila and Pampanga.
Alright, patuloy po kami makikipag-ugnayan sa inyo regarding this issue, sa mga updates or developments po. Maraming salamat, Attorney Archie Albano, ang Director po ng NBI Region 11.
Maraming salamat po, ma'am, at saka sa ating tagapakinig, and maraming salamat sa pagkataon. Good morning.
Napakadami nun, 1,200. And hindi lang dun sa Davao del Sur. But of course, marami pa tayong mga pag-uusapan tungkol dyan. But coming up, the Armed Forces of the Philippines denied rumors of generals walking out of a command conference. What could be the possible motive behind this report?
And more agencies are pushing for a POGO ban, but is PAGCOR in favor of this?
We are just getting started, mga kapatid. More of our top 10 news when brunch returns. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching Brunch here on One News. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday to everyone. Good morning to all our viewers. And we have Gary Field with us. Good morning daw, watching from Agusan del Sur. Happy Wednesday, sabi ni Gary Field. Dito daw sa kanila, nakabili ng lupain kung hindi nabigyan ng FLOA, ang isang milyonaryong Chinese. Anong FLOA? Certificate of Live Birth. Yun ang comment ni Gary Field. Si Lalaine, good morning daw. Alex Fuentes, good morning daw. He is watching us.
Oo, patingin ko lang din itong mga nasa YouTube natin. Si Gina Villa, Ronald Maxtay, Mark Santiago, Alex Fuentes, yan si Garico. Lagi yan nanonood sa atin through YouTube naman.
Good morning
si
sa
Ralph
inyo lahat.
Domingo, binati
Ralph
mo
Domingo,
na ba?
of course, I just
And of
said,
course,
yeah.
si Tito Alec Cancio na nagdidiwang ng kanyang birthday today.
Happy birthday. Okay, let's move on.
Going straight now to our 7th spot, the U.S. Secret Service remains under fire following the assassination attempt against former U.S. President Donald Trump. Some people are describing the incident as the elite agency's worst security failure in 4 decades. Here's the report.
It was the most traumatic thing I think I've ever been through.
It's a sentiment shared by many who attended the rally Saturday where former President Donald Trump was hit and another person killed. But there's another growing concern.
I had been looking behind the stands, watching Secret Service, obviously alerted by something about a minute before.
It's those minutes before the shooting now under increasing scrutiny.
You could see the crowd. They were alerted by something. They were like running. You could see them scattering across the lawn.
CNN has learned that snipers were stationed inside the building that the shooter scaled.
He's going down!
Witness accounts and videos show the crowd aware of the shooter on the roof nearly 2 minutes before gunfire rang out.
The time that it took to get from the bystanders who were observing it to the command post out to the agents was just too long.
No one should have ever been able to get on that rooftop.
The Secret Service says that rooftop was on a building outside of their hard perimeter, and local law enforcement was responsible for securing it. The service's director was pressed on accountability Monday night.
The buck stops with me. I am the director of the Secret Service. It was unacceptable.
I think that an investigation is necessary at this point within Congress, not just the FBI, not just others.
On Tuesday, the heads of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the Secret Service were asked by congressional House members to attend a hearing later this month to determine if there were holes in established procedure or a failure to follow proper protocol. But either way,
there needs to be accountability. And at that time, I would call for the head of the Secret Service to either resign or be removed.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Yung protocol kasi, yung scrutiny, yung protocol nila is, while we understand na yung hard perimeter is under the area of jurisdiction of the Secret Service, ang sinasabi kasi ng iba, although yung building na kung saan yung command center is not part of the hard perimeter, it is still within line of sight daw of the stage, which dapat binantayan yung distance between the roof or that building from the to the stage where Donald Trump was. It's because anything that has a line of sight daw towards the person in question na binabantayan has to be secured by the Secret Service. Now, the physical perimeter na sinasabi, which is outside the hard perimeter, yun ang jurisdiction ng local police. So, yun ang nagiging debate. Pati ba yung distance nito dapat covered ng Secret Service o kasalanan ng local police kasi out of the hard perimeter already. Ang problema nga, even if it's out of the hard perimeter, yun sinasabi ng local police, yung line of sight is still within the perimeter.
Oo. Tsaka parang wala daw ginawa na, di ba, ang tawag din yung sweeping before the event happened.
Dapat wala talagang nakaakyat sa roof. They are sinasabi dapat sa sa local police. Tapos yung response time, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Oo, because medyo malayo yung building from the Secret Service, so they had to run. Yung mga tao sa ilalim ng command center, yung sinasabi, bakit? Hindi nyo ba kausap yung mga tao sa command center that you were able to access the roof right away? Nagpanic ang people, nakita na may tao. Secret Service nga may umikot Tinitignan nila yung tao sa roof hindi na nakarespond kaagad.
Totoo. Pero at least yan, inaamin nila yung kasalanan nila. Wala nang turuan.
Gano'n naman talaga, lalo na sa Secret Service, one of the strictest agencies in the US yan. Mabilis mag-respond yung mga yan. Kaya pahiyang-pahiya yung head nila. The buck stops at my office.
Totoo. So from here, from the failed assassination of former President Donald Trump, let's
assassination
move forward.
Assassination attempt.
Of former President Donald Trump. Let's move forward to another attack naman.
On our top 6, another cyber attack on a government agency. The online systems of the Migrant Workers Department was hit by a ransomware attack. The agency says the databases containing OFW data were not affected. However, the DMW mobile app is still inaccessible as a preemptive measure. The DMW is now working with the DICT to safely restore its online systems. And yet another hacking incident.
Yes, actually, ang Pilipinas daw ay 29th out of 250 countries. And na-rank ito ng Norway-based virtual private network na laging nagkakaroon ng data breach.
And we had former Senator Honasan sir saying that we have naman the systems in place to counter these cyber attacks. It's just siguro we need more of the skilled workers to run these systems kasi kulang tayo sa mga taong magagaling sa counter hacking.
Alright, sige, let's continue with our countdown. Ranking 5th is PhilHealth. The state-run insurer insisted that its benefit package for its members has already improved. In an interview with Radyo 5, PhilHealth spokesperson Ray Balenya listed some of the new features of their package. This includes an upcoming package for cervical and prostate cancer, as well as an expanded coverage for dialysis. Balenya said this amid the eyebrows raised due to the Finance Department's decision of utilizing PhilHealth's unused funds. Health advocates said the idle funds should be used in improving PhilHealth's services. In response, Finance Secretary Ralph Recto said the idle funds can also be used for public investment. Nako, mahaba-habang usapin ito at sinasabi nga natin dapat mag-create tayo mag-raise tayo ng awareness dito dahil sinasabi nga ng mga health reform advocates, yung mga magaling sa pagbabudget, yung mga tumitingin dyan, ay sinasabi nila hindi maganda itong gagawin ng gobyerno. Actually, nagawa na dahil meron na silang 20 billion na nai-transfer na. So, meron kasi diba dun sa budget natin na kinwestiyon ni Senator Coco Pimentel na 450 unprogrammed funds. So, yung sobra, no, excess fund daw dito sa PhilHealth ay gusto nilang ilagay doon sa unprogrammed funds, which is para sa lahat, no, ang sinasabi nila, mali ata itong gagawin. Na instead of, ang daming ospital ngayon na nagrereklamo pa rin na hindi binabayaran sila ng PhilHealth, and then yet, alam natin, sinasabi nila, meron palang excess funds.
Saka yung definition kasi ng idle funds is funds that already talagang walang use or panggagamitan because the funds for that agency is, yung mga gastusin is already fully covered.
Yes.
Pero as mentioned kasi, PhilHealth has a lot of debt towards hospitals na hindi pa fully paid. Number 2, a lot of health packages, including cancer pa lang. Sa cancer pa lang, hindi covered lahat ng forms ng cancer. Lahat ng treatment options kulang pa rin sa cancer packages. So in other words, yung funds na natitira na supposedly idle, pwedeng gamitin to some of those packages para i-enhance yung coverage, increase yung coverage rates. Ang problema, ginamit ito outside the agency when these funds pwede pang gamitin within the agency. Kasi ang definition ginamit ni Senator Ralph Recto ay kaysa matulog yung pera dito, gamitin natin, invest natin sa iba. Ang problema, yung sa
violates the Universal Healthcare Act.
Oo, hindi naman surplus ito, hindi naman idle to because pwedeng i-gamitin pa within the agency.
Saka parang sinasabi ng DOF or nung panig ng gobyerno, ay yung pera naman ito, hindi daw ito yung contribution per se. Miski na, kahit na ito yung subsidized ng gobyerno na nilagay nila sa PhilHealth, ano pa rin yun pera pa rin ng bayan yun di ba? Naiinis kasi ako din. Sinasabi din ng mga, syempre yung mga miyembro ng PhilHealth, sinasabi nila, hands off our PhilHealth contributions, di ba? Dahil ang iba, ang kanilang mga iniisip dito, saan gagamitin itong pera na ito? Malapit na naman eleksyon.
May mga binanggit naman si
Senator
Recto, former Senator Ralph Recto, kung saan daw gagamitin, di ba? Mga structures and other
pero
investments.
Pero hindi dapat nang gagaling
okay sana yan kung gagawin mo yon tapos ibabalik mo ulit sa PhilHealth.
Hindi dapat nila pakikialaman yung PhilHealth contributions. Mahaba-habang usapin ito at dapat talaga pinagtutuunan ng pansin dahil hindi biro, diba, itong perang pinag-uusapan dito. But for the meantime, ay tayo magpatuloy muna sa ating countdown.
Switching gears for our top 4, the Philippine Navy confirms the passage of a Chinese Coast Guard vessel near Lubang Island. This comes after maritime expert Ray Powell said the Chinese vessel conducted, quote, intrusive patrol. But according to Navy spokesperson Roy Trinidad, the ship was only exercising the freedom of navigation. The armed forces, though, vowed to continue their monitoring of foreign vessels in our territory.
We reiterate that China's activities in our waters are illegal and violate international law. We will continue our active monitoring and strengthen our presence in the West Philippine Sea to protect our territories and uphold our rights.
Freedom of navigation daw. At least we're allowing them to do that. Diba? And that they don't allow us to do that.
Oo nga eh. Pero when you say intrusive, 'di ba? Let them define ano yung intrusive, ano yung ginawa nila yung intrusive patrolling. But of course, let's continue muna with our countdown. Medyo kabit ito eh. Still hot at the third spot is the Armed Forces of the Philippines. The AFP belied a report of generals walking out of their command conference in Camp Aguinaldo. This is in response to a radio report that a top general allegedly walked out of the conference and he was followed by other officials. It can be recalled that the last command conference was led by President Bongbong Marcos on July 4. AFP spokesperson Colonel Francel Margaret Padilla called this is a fake news as she was also in the command conference. The Philippine Navy also echoed her statement. Ang tawag pa nga rito ni spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore Roy Vincent Trinidad, ay Marites Warfare.
Warfare yan.
Warfare
Marites
yan.
Warfare yan.
Oo. Alright, sige. To tell us more about this, we have AFP spokesperson Colonel Francel Margaret Padilla on the line.
Good morning, Colonel.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. Magandang umaga po sa inyong mga taga-subaybay.
Yes, regarding po yung supposed Marites warfare na po ito, have we talked to the radio station na nag-report po nitong balita na ito?
Yes, sir, no. Nagkausap naman po kami niyan kasi there was an anniversary also that was celebrated, and we also graced the said occasion, and we clarified things on this matter. Over and above that, sir, naglabas na rin po sila ng clarification about that in their said radio program.
Ano po yung clarification na linabas nila? Saan nanggaling yung report na yan?
This was unverified news po, no? For some reason, kumalat ito and went viral. And currently, we're still tracking kung ano talaga yung punot-dulo ito, kung saan ito nanggaling. But itong paalala natin, no, na pagka meron po tayong nakita ng mga ganitong news, let us not be agents of that proliferation of this fake news.
Yeah.
Meron nga pong mga nagtatanong kasi before this, ito pong balita na ito, meron din pong mga kumalat na mga, ang tawag dito, mga text messages, diba, regarding dun sa mga iba't ibang posisyon, supposedly, no, sa hanay po ng ating kasundaluhan, tungkol nga po dito sa mga issue na ito. Are we going to do po a loyalty check?
We have been conducting a lot of visits, ma'am, around different camps. And then in all of these things, in all of these occasions po, hindi naman po tayo naglo-loyalty check, but we check on the morale and welfare of our troops. Right. And i-report po natin dito, ang nabanggit mo sa ating press con kahapon, no, the morale of our troops is sky high. Ang ating pong mga tropa ay ang fighting spirit nila, ma'am, is really burning at this point, no? It is aflame with the patriotic spirit and of course fueled by the support of the Filipino people. Kasi nga kita natin, ma'am, itong mga recent incidents, no? Yun po talagang mga comments and sentimiento ng ating taong bayan. Talaga po very high ang nationalistic spirit po.
Yes, Colonel, I would like to ask na balik po tayo sa radio station. If ever po napatunayan na talagang they were sowing fake news, ano po plano gawin ng AFP po dito? Plano po ba natin kasuhan ng radio station?
Sir, ito namang radio station, those were, wala naman pong name talaga dito. Wala rin po talagang specifics that were stated. But what we were looking at are yung mga naglabas na talagang may specifics to it and talagang they gave misleading commentary, misleading commentary which attempted to sow yung divisiveness sa atin. So they do not give merit to this anonymous na accusation because this was a blind item, no? But yung pag-story nito, sir, that is an irresponsible act and uncharacteristic, especially, sir, meron pong former military officer that
And just to be clear, wala naman po tayong mga namomonitor na mga coup attempts, no, from the military against the president.
ngayon wala naman, ma'am, no? And nabanggit nga po natin, there is not even a need for loyalty check.
Right. Taking this opportunity to ask you na rin po, Colonel, doon po sa inyong campaign, yung mulat, if I'm not mistaken, against fake news issue po ng West Philippine Sea. Kamusta na po ito?
Yes, ma'am, no? We have launched our communications plan, mulat. Mulat is awakening, no? Ito po is not only directed to the Filipino people because ang sabi ko naman, no, with the sheer support of the nation, mulat na po ang bawat Pilipino tungkol sa usapin na ito sa West Philippine Sea. But we also want to do the awakening towards our like-minded nations and the whole world in general po, no? That the law is on our side. We have celebrated nga yung anniversary ng ruling po ng arbitration ruling in our favor. So with this po, we have that battle cry. It's our peace, our rights, our future. So ang panawagan po namin dito ay alamin po natin ang talagang usapin tungkol dito sa ating karagatan. At atin pong suportahan, no, ang ating karapatan dito at ipaglaban po natin para po sa ating kinabukasan.
Alright, maraming salamat po ulit sa inyong oras. That was AFP spokesperson Colonel Francel Margaret Padilla.
Maraming salamat po at mabuhay po kayo.
Alright, don't go away because we're not done yet. May dalawa pa tayo. Nako, you have to stay with us. Kung hindi nyo alam ang number 1, welcome back. You're still watching Brunch here on One News. May isang message from one of our viewers, si Jerome Polo. Happy watching daw. And happy watching din sa inyong lahat. It's a wonderful, tama ba ako? Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning. Dire-diretso na tayo.
Heating up on our second spot, the Senate has prepared a detention facility for suspended Mayor Alice Go and her family. Office of the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms Head Roberto Angcan says they will be the first to use the facility. But he clarified that it was not made for Go and her family. According to Angcan, the detention facility was built last year to accommodate more people being cited in contempt.
Hindi siya hotel type, but they're comfortable naman. Here I can assure her security 24/7. I've done it before. I was a commander before, and I assured the people within my area of responsibility that they're safe.
Will be provided and visitors will be allowed by the Senate. Gadgets, however, are prohibited, but Senate President Chis Escudero says they will review the guidelines. Go, her siblings, and her parents are ordered arrested by the Senate for not attending hearings in illegal pogo.
Wala ako nakikitang dahilan kung bakit hindi. Hindi naman mga drug lord to na pwede nilang pagpatuloy yung kanilang operasyon sa loob ng detention. Pangalawa, wala naman ako nakikitang delikadong kaganapan na magdetect sila na mapuga sila mula sa detention facility.
Oo, kasi after nag-request yung accountant ata ni Alice Go na medyo naboboard daw kung pwede ng gadget, hindi naman talaga siya under arrest per se because may kaso. It's because you are held by the Senate until you can testify.
Oo, hanggang matapos yung kanila sigurong
yes, so that's the only reason why sabi ni Chis Escudero said, Senate President Chis Escudero said they're reviewing na baka pwede nang payagan naman ng gadget. Pero kasi mga resource person lang naman to na ayaw mag-testify, that's why they're being held.
Maganda naman yung detention facility.
Oh, malamig daw yung aircon dyan, sabi nila. Oh.
Pero tignan natin kung, ewan ko hanggang ngayon kasi syempre, ang paghahanap kay suspended Mayor Alice Go is still ongoing dahil nga, yun nga ang sinasabi, nililinaw natin, itong Senate na to is in aid of legislation.
That's why, and then if you do not attend the hearing or refuse to answer certain questions, you can be cited in contempt and detained or arrested by the Senate until such time that you satisfy their need for you.
Iniimbitahan ka bilang resource person, pero sinasabi nga ng kampo nila Guo, 'di ba, through her lawyer na dahil nasisigawan siya doon or parang trial by publicity na yung nangyayari,
Na-stress
nahuhusgahan na siya,
Oo.
'di ba? Na kumbaga parang nagiging personal na masyado yung investigasyon towards the suspended
Pero
mayor.
nakakapag-FB daw.
siya. Pero right now, taken down na yung post. And I think, ewan ko kung ongoing pa yung, or nandiyan pa yung mismong Facebook account niya. Pero the post itself is already taken down. So,
Yun
yan,
pala
so,
okay.
nakikita po natin sa screen natin ngayon, yung sinasabi nga po nga, Senate Detention Facility.
Yeah, may mga
para
bunk
po dito
beds.
kay suspended Mayor Go at saka dun sa kanyang mga relatives, yung siblings, supposedly, dahil nga until now, hindi pa rin po sila mahanap kung nasaan. But according to the lawyer of suspended mayor, through attorney Stephen David, di ba tinanong natin, yung daddy ba? Di ba? Ito yung daddy ba ni Mayor Alice Go nasaan? Nasa China. Hindi daw.
China.
Wala pa siyang planong umuwi dito.
Pinabayaan niya anak niya. Oo.
Alright, may naantay pa tayo isang guest, but for the meantime, let's continue with our countdown. Our top story for today are the Pogos. Some government agencies are supporting the calls to ban Pogos. Meanwhile, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian revealed he is receiving death threats. Here's the report.
Aside from operating without proper permit, illegal Pogos were also discovered to have links to crime. Authorities previously retrieved videos of Pogo employees being tortured. Millions of pesos were also lost due to their illegal means of keeping their profit. Those are just some of the reasons why various government agencies, like the National Security Council, are supporting the calls to ban Pogos.
We have seen the extent of criminal activities being conducted in some of the IGLs and Pogo facilities, particularly human trafficking, cyber fraud, prostitution, etc., which to us has become a very serious national concern.
The Finance Department reported that the government is losing almost 100 billion pesos in our economy because of Pogos.
There's an impact to investment. So basically, there's lower investments because of Pogo activities. And we know that if there are more investment, we could have actually collected taxes from these supposed investments if they have come in. So again, you have to balance out. And in this particular case, we can see that the costs are definitely higher than the benefits.
The National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, also warned that China might blacklist the country if we don't ban Pogos. If this will happen, we might lose 144 billion pesos that we get from Chinese tourists visiting our country. However, PAGCOR insisted that regulating Pogos is better than banning them.
Linilinis natin at inaalis natin lahat ng dapat na alisin, hindi karapat-dapat na mabigyan ng lisensya. At sa natitirang pong 43, the 43 that is left, we are monitoring whether they are compliant in all our guidelines, and we are making sure that they are not involved in any criminal activities.
Meanwhile, Senator Win Gatchalian sought help from Pasay City Police after receiving death threats. He believes this is caused by his ongoing investigation into Pogos. Gatchalian also learned that a video containing threats against his security went viral. Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel and Senator Rita Ontiveros expressed hope that President Bongbong Marcos will announce the ban on Pogos in his third State of the Nation address on July 22.
Alright, dumako muna tayo sa iba pang balita for today. Former lawmaker Edgar Erice asked the Supreme Court to cite COMELEC Chairperson George Garcia in contempt. This is after Garcia responded to Erice's petition to the High Court to declare the contract between COMELEC and Miro Systems null and void.
Garcia insisted that his statement had no intention to influence the court to get his side of this ongoing feud. We have with us former Caloocan 2nd District Representative Edgar Erice. Good morning, Congressman. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
Yes, Congressman, I'm sure you heard po yung response ni COMELEC Chairman George Garcia. Ano po ang sagot niyo po doon?
Well, I already filed a motion to cite Chairman Garcia for contempt. So I think siguro sagutin niya lang sa Korte Suprema. Pero ang simple lang naman yung sinasabi ko, parang tinatakot niya yung Korte Suprema dun sa consequence nung magiging decision nito, kung laban sa kanila, sa COMELEC. Hindi niya dapat ginagawa to. As a lawyer, dapat alam niya na hindi niya dapat ginagawa to. Ang consequence, simple lang naman kasi, whether the contract is legal or not. Kung illegal yung contract, bakit niya tatakutin na babalik tayo sa manual elections? Samantalang ang liwaliwanag sa batas na we cannot legally go back to manual elections. And there are many ways to conduct automated elections. Duty niya yon, trabaho niya yon, kahit na manalipay pa itong Miro contract na ito.
Going back po dito, former congressman, dun po sa issue po nga nitong Bahamas Files, no? Ang sabi po ni COMELEC Chairman George Garcia, itong alleged bank accounts na po in the Bahamas Files are fake, sabi po niya. At and I quote, yesterday po kasi kausap ko po siya sa ibang programa, ang sabi po niya, laging sinasabi tulad kahapon, sabi galing daw sa Bahamas. Na-trace namin na galing sa Pilipinas. Pinadala sa Bahamas at mula sa Bahamas pinadala sa Pilipinas. Your reaction on that?
Wala po akong kinalaman dyan. Natanggap ko po yan sa bahay namin. Dinala ng FedEx. At may record naman po kung sino yung tumanggap. At yan po hindi ko inilalabas. Kaya lang po nagsalita si Congressman Marcoleta. So nung nagsalita si Congressman Marcoleta, sabi ko, mabuti pa para maliwanag, padala ko yung sealed copy kay Chairman Garcia bilang COMELEC. Dapat siguro imbestigahan niya ito. COMELEC would be managing the election, our elections, will choose our future leaders, di ba? So dapat yung COMELEC sa mga ganitong allegation parang Caesar's wife. They should be beyond reproach. Kaya nga pinadala ko sa kanya, sealed, wala akong sinasabi kung sino yung COMELEC official na yun. Ang sinasabi ko, imbestigahan niya. Pinadala ko rin sa Kongreso, pinadala ko rin sa Senado, pinadala ko rin sa Office of the President. Marami akong aligasyon at maraming red flags ang Miro contract na hindi pinapansin. Bulag, pipi, bingi ang Commission on Elections. Napakarami. Kaya ang hiling ko na lang, simple lang yan. I'm willing to face Chairman Garcia in any forum, whether in the courts or in the Senate or in the House. Mas maganda nga, imbestigahan ng Senate para under oath kami mismo at i-reveal ko lahat ng nalalaman.
Actually, yan din po yung sinabi niya kahapon. Handa daw po siya lahat po ng mga nilabas niya at sinabi ay under oath. Kung kayo daw po ay handa na sabihin lahat po ng mga alegasyon ninyo under oath.
Yes. Hinihintay ko yan. Kaya nga pinadala ko sa House, pinadala ko sa Senate para mag-oath ako. At doon ko sabihin. Kuminsan kasi napipigil yung mga yung mga sinasabi ko, hindi nakakalusot sa desk.
Ano po also, Congressman, na yung claim niyo po na sabi ni Chairman Garcia that all of this daw that is happening against COMELEC and against him is all a demolition job daw?
Kung may nagde-demolish sa reputasyon ng COMELEC, si Chairman Garcia. Bakit? Ano sabi ng Supreme Court? They committed a grave abuse of discretion. Di ba? Sino nag-abuse? Sila. Hindi yung mga nagsasalita ng laban sa Miro. Pangalawa, hanggang ngayon, wala pang lumalabas na mukha ng Miro. Anong nangyayari? Siya ang nagde-demonstrate. Hindi naman siya technical. Nagkakamali-mali, nagkakasanga-sanga na nga yung bibig niya, nagkakaiba-iba yung kanyang mga sinasabi tungkol sa operasyon ng machine. Dapat dito, yung Miro nagpapaliwanag because they are the provider, di ba? Anong nangyayari? Parang siya, he is no longer the face of COMELEC. He is now the face of Miro.
But the Supreme Court's decision po regarding po dun sa nabanggit nyo kanina na the COMELEC has committed grave abuse dun sa pagpili nga po ng kontrata nito. Hindi po ba ang ibig sabihin din po nun nung sa ginawa nila yun, null and void? Hindi naman daw po null and void yung pagkuha sa Miro.
Hindi null and void yung kontrata. kasi may operative back. Di ba? Yun ang sinasabi natin, may operative back. Tatama naman ang desisyon ng Korte Suprema, nag-agree ako, na hindi dapat, dahil agrabyado isang private company, ay hindi na natin itutuloy yung kontrata ng gobyerno. Pero iba naman yung petition ko, yung certiorari petition ko sa Korte Suprema, ang sinasabi ko doon, they violated Section 7 and 12 of Republic Act 9369, the Automated Election Law, at hindi po pwedeng gumamit ng illegal na makina. Bakit illegal? Prototype. Isa lang naman ang tinatanong ko. Bakit hindi pwedeng gumamit? Ang intent of the law, hindi pwedeng gumamit ng prototype sapagkat magiging guinea pig ang eleksyon natin. Ang tanong ko lang, simple lang. Tanong nyo kay Commissioner Garcia, saan nagamit yung sistema na yan na pinapakita niya? Anong bansa? Pag nasabi niya kung anong bansa, tama yan, luluhod ako, hihingi ako ng patawad sa kanya.
Nabanggit din po ni COMELEC Chairman Garcia na yun nga po yung may basihan daw po siya na falsified yung mga dokumento dito po sa Bahamas Files, and he is ready to file cases against people behind this.
Mag-file siya. Hindi naman galing sa akin yan. Binigay ko nga sa kanya in confidence. Nakasil pa. Wala naman ako sinasabi sa kanya. Nasabi ko nga, imbestigahan ko. Tinutulungan ko pa siya dahil nakita niya na. Siya naman yung nagladlad ng dokumento. Nakasil yun ang binigay ko sa kanya.
Yun nga po yung tanong din na nakararami. When you and Congressman Marcoleta na nailabas nga po itong mga allegation
wala
ito.
Akong nilalabas na dokumento.
Opo, ibig sabihin wala daw
akong
pong
nilalabas.
pangalan.
Only a sealed package.
Opo.
With a covering letter.
So nagtatanong po nga po sila kasi wala naman daw po kayong sinabing pangalan, pero siya ang
mismo
nagsabi ng kanyang pangalan.
Iyan nga, kaya nga parang mas maganda, magharap kami sa Senado, sa Kongreso, anywhere, mag-vote kami, tapos sabihin namin yung nalalaman namin tungkol dito.
You are also planning to file graft charges against other COMELEC officials. How do we make sure po na enough po yung evidence natin for this?
I think I have enough evidence.
And you are confident po na...
Yes, I'm confident. Alam mo, ano ba motibo ko dito? Simple lang. Gusto ko lang yung malaman natin yung totoo. I've been in politics for the past 49 years. I've run in 12 elections, won 7, lost 5. And I think the best thing that ever happened to the Philippine elections is automation. Nabawasan ng dayaan, nabawasan ng patayan. Ngayon, bababuyin nila Bababuyin nila yung eleksyon natin dahil lang sa pera.
Alright, so
we've never spent 6 billion in any automated election. Now, 18 billion.
Right.
Bukol na bukol ng mga Pilipino dito. Nagugutom ang marami, ang taas ng inflation, walang makain.
Can we say
pagkatapos
also...
nanakawin lang ng ganyan. Pera na.
Right. Before we let you go, can we also say po,
Hello?
or yes po, former congressman, can we also say po, or kasi a lot of people are asking also, are you and Congressman Marcoleta are working together in this case?
No.
Or coordinating?
No. Actually, he's calling me. Ayoko sumagot kasi hindi ko naman alam kung saan galing yung kanyang documents.
Alright. Okay. On that note po, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. That was former Caloocan 2nd District Representative Edgar Arice.
Thank you.
Thank you po.
Ayun, may medyo lumalalim itong issue, but mukhang both parties naman are willing to go to the proper forum or even to the Senate under oath para maimbestigahan itong mga issue na ito, which has to be resolved
hamunan na to ng under
before
oath.
the 2025 midterm elections. Alright.
Napakadaming
madami pa tayong pag-usapan, but wala na tayong oras.
Yung numbering gusto ko sana pag-usapan yung sa countdown natin, pero bukas na lang.
Bukas na lang yan. But thank you again to Second Mile Coffee. May utang pa ako sa inyo na quote. Nagmamadali kasi tayo to go. But good morning sa lahat ng viewers. Thank you very much for joining us today on a Hump Day Wednesday. And that wraps up today's episode of Brunch.
Nakalimutan ko tanungin si Congressman Arice kung tatakbo siya this year.
Next
sa midterm election.
Sa midterm, hindi natin natanong, sayang.
Okay, join us again tomorrow. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro. And he is Angelo Caso III. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.